and welcome to the Ross Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Ross, and this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you as we navigate through the clouds of life, empowering one another. I'd like to give a shout out to everybody that's listening all over the world. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Ross Cloud Podcast. Listen, we have our two hostess with the mostest, Al Shaw and Jordan Wright. What's happening, fellas?
Hey, thanks.
Good. I know it, man. Listen, we are here at the International Black Theater Festival 2024. And of course, it's Marv-tastic. And we have a Marv-tastic individual here with us here on today. We have the one and only Miss Angela Ray. What's happening, Angela?
Oh, I am having a Marv-tastic day. Black theater, holy ground. Just really excited to be here for this international celebration and reunion of spirit.
Yes, let me tell you something. You exude Black excellence.
Indeed.
I just absolutely love it. Oh my God.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite. Connect.
That's
71st.
right.
Connect.
Oh, I absolutely love it. We had the great opportunity of speaking with you 2 years ago, Angela, and I'm so glad again that we get once again
Yes.
to speak with you again. I actually wanted you in the studio, but guess what?
I'm here.
Look how the
I
universe
was planning.
works.
I was actually
I know
planning
it,
to come
but I
to
know
the
you
studio.
was
We talked
busy,
about
though.
that. We talked about that.
I know it. But look how the universe works. You're right here once again. I love it. Can you tell the folks a little bit about yourself, some of the work that you've done?
So I am a creative entrepreneur working as an actress, a spoken word poet. I also work in public relations. I'm an author, and I am just happy to be walking in my gift. That's the most important thing. I'm just happy to be walking and working in my gift.
That's right. I absolutely love it. I know of some of the work that you did with Tyler Perry. So if you would, it's for the folks that may not know, for our new audience, and they should know, but for our new audience, can you kind of tell them, your body of work, that the one ordeal that you did, or a couple of things that you did. Can you just kind of talk about that, a little bit of work? Because I know you do voiceover work too as well.
Sure. So in terms of film and television, you mentioned Tyler Perry. I was blessed to be a part of Boo and Madea Halloween. And my character made history. I like to kind of tell this. I played the only character in Madea franchise history to lead Madea to the Lord. Y'all know Madea is a heathen, right? So I'm the only one that led Madea to the Lord in all of the 20-year franchise history of the Madea movies. But very blessed to be a part of that. And in addition to that, let's see, most recently I was a part of P-Valley on Stars. In the last couple of years, I made my way to Tubi, a film that I was in a few years ago called Through Her Eyes, about a young lady desegregating a school in Marion, Alabama, right outside of Selma. So many people know Ruby Bridges' story, which is an amazing story, but there were other young men and young women who were also brave, taking those steps and being the only one in the room. And so in this movie, Through Her Eyes, we told that story of a young lady who helped desegregate a school. And what's so amazing is she's still alive. At least she was at that time when we filmed it. And we got to meet her family on set. They came to visit her on set, came to visit us on set. So that was just amazing. And that is playing on Tubi. Again, that is Through Her Eyes. I have a movie on Amazon Prime called Emergency with Sabrina Carpenter of Disney fame. And so those are a few other projects that are on my resume.
Yes, sir. And we know that you are Delta.
Yeah, shout out to the lovely ladies of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, representing that crimson and cream. The Divine Nine has been real active, and I'm not even going to start going down there. But I think everyone now, if you have to be under a rock not to know who the Divine Nine is at this point. There was a time when it was kind of like just in our community, but now you go to some of these social media platforms, there are people explaining who the Divine Nine is and why you need to know how powerful they are.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. What college did you go to?
University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Shout out to all of those Tar Heels.
Okay, I love it. You know what? I was just telling my brother a few minutes ago. My brother's an alum of North Carolina A&T.
Aggie Pride. Yes. I heard, being at Carolina, Carolina, I heard Aggie Pride all the time in our parties in Great Hall. I'm like, wait a minute,
Right.
how y'all gonna come down to our school in our party talking about Aggie Pride? But yeah, they came and party with the people in Tar Heel Land for a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt. I was just telling him that because I know of some of the work that you did over at North Carolina A&T. You interviewed some great individuals over there. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh yes.
Oh, see, I know.
Oh, okay. So you've been keeping up with me a little something. So last year I had an opportunity to interview another lady of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, the incomparable Cheryl Lee Ralph. Of course, Cheryl won of her first Emmy in 2022 for her work on Abbott Elementary, and they brought her in to talk to the students. Of course, A&T has a great drama department, and so the department was actually doing Dreamgirls, and so as a part of this Dream Girl weekend, they were doing the play. They brought in one of the original Dreamgirls, and I had an opportunity to moderate a conversation with her on stage. So that was amazing. That was like, wow, I love my life kind of moments.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'll jump in there.
Yeah. So, what kind of led you down this path? Were you involved when you were at UNC?
Yeah. So I was. Shout out to the Ebony Readers Onyx Theater. That is a Black theater troupe at Carolina, and so I was a part of the Black theater troupe. I was their artistic director for 2 years. Actually, I knew that was what I wanted to do when I went to Carolina. So someone shared this little story, and this is a story for those of you who are looking at colleges. I remember my sophomore year, I'd gone to a college fair, and I always wanted to go to Carolina, but I hadn't done the deep dive yet to see like what the programs were like. And so there happened to be a UNC recruiter at my high school. So I went, I talked to him, I told him some of the things I was interested in, and he said, well, I don't think that this is the best school for you. He recommended Winston-Salem State because of their mass communications program. And then he also recommended the North Carolina School of the Arts, both amazing schools. So my junior year, when I went to the college fair, I went to the table for the North Carolina School of the Arts and Winston-Salem State. It just so happened that UNC had a program, like a weekend program for juniors to come visit the campus. And so I was like, since I'm not going to go, I might as well just go, go to get this free excuse absence and go ahead and visit Carolina. And oh my gosh, the best decision I could have made, because not only was that recruiter incorrect, he did not know that UNC had a professional repertory theater on campus, number one. Number two, there was UNC television, UNC radio. So public television and public radio were both housed outside of the department that I eventually ended up majoring in. There was student television. Like there were so many different opportunities. And I'll tell you, at that time, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do in television. I didn't know if it was acting or broadcasting, but I knew it was something, and UNC had it all. And so the lesson in that for any parents or high school students that may be watching, go to your college fairs, but do the college visit. Even if you have to do a virtual visit and the college that you want to go to is a long way away, do the college visit, because I couldn't believe that the person that UNC was sending out into the field to bring people to UNC didn't know what he was talking about. And while it's interesting, I remember seeing this guy a couple times when I was on campus once I got there, because I remember what he looked like. And I came close to saying, dude, you didn't know what you were talking about. But I was like, no, let him live. But yes, I think that the lesson in that is definitely take that college visit, because you're going to see so much more than any brochure or pamphlet can show you.
I absolutely love it.
And I had a question for you. Like, when did you realize that like acting was like, that was your gift? Like that was what you wanted to do forever?
So I got started in acting via speaking, and I got started in speaking via church. My very first speech, that I'm too young to remember, but the legendary story, and I say legendary because when stories started getting, when you have a story, someone tells you like something that happened, let's say here at the festival. Next year, that story's going to have a little something added to it, right? They're going to have a little bit of bacon to it. It's going to be like a burger. It's a plain burger, but next year it's going to have a burger. And then the next year, they're going to have real onions and a little bit of A1 steak sauce, right? Exactly. So by 2026, it's going to be toasted bread with some butter and an extra patty. So it's, you still got the original burger, but it's going to be stuff added to it. Absolutely. So that's how this story started when I've heard relatives talk about it. So I was 3 years old. Only thing I can remember is Happy Easter Day. That was my whole Easter speech because I'm only 3. And so my mom, according to this story, told me, hey, go up there and say it really loud and clear. So I did exactly what my interpretation of what my mother told me to do. And because this is a mic and I'm not trying to blow it out, I won't recreate that. Right. But suffice it to say, I was loud enough that everybody in the church heard it. They busted out laughing. So apparently in my mind, I was like, oh, I did something good because all the people are responding. And that's really where it started with speaking. And so by the time I was in elementary school, I was participating in public speaking contests, representing my school, representing my district, representing the state of North Carolina. I'm originally from North Carolina. So I did that all the way through school. But then the speaking took a slight change when I was in the 7th grade and I got involved in something called forensics. I don't know if you all are familiar. It's just an organization in school. I think they have it in both middle and high school, but we got to do dramatic pieces, humorous pieces, and then pieces that we wrote. They called it original oratories when you write a speech. And so that's kind of when I started transitioning that getting up and running my mouth into acting and started competing in dramatic interpretation by the time I was in high school. And then when I got to college, I was still kind of doing a little bit of everything. I majored in speech communication, but I had a concentration in performance. I was involved with the Black theater troupe. So so I would say it started with that initial performance, probably in church, but then I kept nurturing that gift of speaking that eventually led me down the path of acting.
I love it. Wow. There's so much. Go ahead, Al.
All right, cool. So are you, as far as your goals, and this has always been the vein that you've been in, are you still climbing, or have you?
Oh, I'm definitely still climbing. I think that especially in something like the arts, I think we're always climbing because there's always another role that can challenge you, no matter how many. I mean, I look at someone like a Meryl Streep who, I was like, oh my gosh, does she really need another Academy Award? But she's still going out, looking at scripts and still competing, if you will, or still growing her talent. So yeah, definitely haven't arrived, but enjoying this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. We also I know of your poetry, your love for poetry, but where did your love for poetry begin, Angela?
So another story. I think I got stories for days.
Come on.
So my 7th grade year, I was in Miss Patterson's language arts class. Shout out to Miss Patterson. And we were studying poetry. That was what we were studying. And one of my classmates, shout out to Amy Pendergrass. Amy looked at me, I still remember her name. And she said, can you write a poem? And I was like, yeah, I haven't written a poem before. But, I'm not one to beg. Yeah, I can write a poem. She said, okay, write a poem about a guy and a crush. And I said, okay. So I wrote this poem. I was walking down the hall. His eyes met mine. A crush came upon me because he was so fine. That was the first stanza. That's the first poem I ever wrote. I've got a crush on you. I don't remember the rest of it. And so I was like, that was pretty good. She thought it was pretty good. And so then I just started kind of cultivating that writing. Actually studied poetry for a while I was in college. And so that's where poetry started for me. It really was on a dare, because I believe Amy dared me to write a poem about a crush. So really, I started writing poetry on a dare.
I love it. I absolutely love that.
All right, so go ahead. Were you about
No.
Okay.
Cool. So did Love Jones, did they have a influence on?
It did. Kind of that transition into what people more call spoken word.
Right on.
Yeah. So definitely when I watched Love Jones and saw that whole, it was almost like an era that just kind of like swept the country, if you will. So yeah, definitely had an impact.
Yeah, it even made it to McDonald's. Remember McDonald's was doing the spoken word?
Oh yeah,
Remember?
they had
The guy was beating the bongos and somebody was doing spoken word, but it was in reference to McDonald's.
Okay. I vaguely remember that.
Maybe I'm dating myself.
No, it was all around the same
It's
time.
around that same time to that point.
Because there was Def Poetry Jam. We all remember Def Comedy
Yeah.
Jam, but there was
man.
Def Poetry Jam for a
That's
while.
right. And it was beautiful. I absolutely love that. Could you read a little bit could you say some poetry right now for
Sure.
us?
I'm
And
gonna
are you
share.
going to be a part of the poetry jam?
I don't know. So I don't know. We'll see if we can slide on in there maybe
man.
tomorrow night. Because I think I don't know if it's going on tonight, but definitely tomorrow night. So I'll see if I can talk to LB about getting. Oh, Mike is co-hosting. Oh, let me.
It's a done
Let me
deal.
text. I was trying to act like I got it like that since I know the co-host. But yeah, I forgot that Mike is co-hosting tomorrow.
Yes.
So I'm just going to do a small excerpt of a piece called An Empty Chair. It was something that I wrote specifically for this festival to honor those who have transitioned since 2022. Empty chair. There's an empty chair at the table. And though we are unable to see who they be in the flesh, we find fidelity in the reality that their humanity is still here. He was the man that would break his neck for his brother, man. And she was the woman whose life began in Nutbush. Career spanned 5 decades with fans all over the land. There was no contest. She was simply the best. Now, I can attest that we were all blessed by the king of Calypso, who confessed his love for Carmen Jones, addressed inequality, promoted Black unity, but daylight came. And he wanted to go home. Home. And that's an excerpt of An Empty Chair.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I knew you could deliver. I knew you could. Angela, can you talk about some of the things you got going on like right now at this moment?
Right now. So I finished another Tubi movie. And I don't know if I'm at liberty. There are so many things that we could talk about, and so I'm gonna. Even though I know the director posted something on social media, I'm just gonna say I completed a Tubi movie. It is now in post production. Right. I did a short film earlier this year, and I worked on a stage reading last year of a playwright, Jeanette Hill. Shout out to Jeanette. She's an amazing playwright. We did her play last year in Atlanta. We did the stage reading, and so there was talk of getting it up to like a full production. Some investment interest, so we may be circling back around to that. And let's see what else. I am preparing to, I wouldn't say a whole tour, but to do some speaking on some college campuses. I have a book called Megastar Student Leadership, Lessons I Learned as an Actress That Can Help You Lead, Succeed, and Achieve. And so it's a leadership book based on my acting career, where I take lessons that I learned in entertainment, I adapt those for student leaders. So I'll be going out doing some speaking engagements with colleges and high schools this fall, and that's what I have going on. And then I'll be doing some. I just hot off the press actually just this week. I'll be working with a company out of Canada to do some specialized hosting, specifically game show hosting. Not what am I trying to say? These will be for like special events. I'm not quite Steve Harvey, but you can call me Stefana Harvey if you want to, but not quite Steve. But looking forward to doing some hosting of some games like all over the country.
I love it. Anybody else want to jump in? Anybody get more questions?
No, I think you covered. I don't
Y'all satisfied?
No, I have another question.
Okay.
So, how is it difficult to manage when you're in the industry? Is it difficult to manage your personal life and still be
with that balance?
Yes,
it can be a challenge at times. Like, I'm here. I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from my parents, and I was thinking, wow, while I'm this close, I want to make sure that I visit them. And honestly, I've just kind of rearranged some stuff so that I could do that. So, because those, family's important. Yeah. So I didn't want to be that close for almost an entire week and not, go check on mom and pop. So it is a balance at times. And sometimes I think it's just a matter of just knowing what's most important. Sure, you make sacrifices at times. There are times that I'm with my family and I'm just like, you know what, I'm going to miss this. Or there are times where I'm like, you know what, this is really important for the career, check in with family. And then we all learn how to Zoom. It started March of 2020. Even my mom has Zoom. I didn't know she was going to be able to do it, but shout out to mom. Mom knows how to get on Zoom now. And dad got a smartphone during the pandemic. I never thought I would see that day, but he no longer has his flip phone as of July of 2021. So I can see them just about any time I want virtually. So it is a balance. And I think it just, sometimes you just sometimes you're here and then sometimes this is here and then sometimes it's like that. It's just important not to always have it like this. It's just about, continuing to kind of ebb and flow.
I love that. The premise of our show is to help people become better as we navigate through the clouds of life, empowering one another. And I usually like to ask my guests, if they can say something positive to empower that next generation, or maybe even an adult, and maybe trying to find their way and navigate their way through life. And, life happens sometimes. And sometimes a little encouragement can be that very push that you need that takes you to the next level.
That's right.
Would you take a little bit of time and kind of speak to that, and then let the folks know how they can follow you, and then we'll close it out.
Absolutely. So I'll share this inspiration actually from one of my other books, Raising Motivation.
Come on.
And Ray of Motivation number 77 states that one of the biggest discoveries you can make in life is that you have unlimited choices. And I think that oftentimes when individuals, they might look at a certain path, they think it's either A or B, but oftentimes A and B are in view. That's what's in focus. But when you widen what you can see, you'll see C and D and E and F. And just because A and B are in focus, it doesn't mean that those other options aren't viable options or are not better options. And I think that is sometimes where we can kind of get stuck. I remember one time asking my niece, she's an adult now, but when she was a child, maybe she was 9, I was like, well, would you rather go to this house or that house for the holiday? Like, I gave her a choice. You know what she said? She said both. And I was like, I never would have thought of that as a child. If somebody told me, you're going to either do this or that, I wouldn't have never said that. But she said both. And so that was like kind of like a moment for me, even as an adult then. So really thinking about the fact that there are so many different options. I know for me, at earlier times in my career, I was often asked, well, are you a speaker or are you an actress? Don't make me choose. I have gifting in both of them. So I think that is it. Just knowing that you have unlimited opportunities, unlimited choices, and taking the roof off, shattering the glass ceiling, and just letting those pieces fly, and knowing that you can go beyond the sky.
Yeah, I love it. Can you tell the folks how they can follow you?
Absolutely. You can follow me on social media at the Angela Ray. That is Instagram, Facebook, as well as X. I dip over there sometimes too. I still dip over there. I'm not over there nearly as much as I used to be, but I dip my toe over there in X, and then on YouTube at Angela Ray TV.
I love it. I'll plug your books again.
Okay, so Mega Star Student Leadership, that is my nonfiction book. It is a leadership book for high school and college students. Rays of Inspiration, that is my inspirational book. And my first love is poetry. So I have a poetry book called Blackberry Whispers.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Very beautiful. Thank you again, Angela, for gracing us with your presence here on the Ross Cloud Podcast. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you all for having me. I'm glad we were able to make this connection again.
Absolutely. So listen, I hope something was said to you that can help you become a better you. Listen, this is the Ross Clown Podcast. And again, we are here at the International Black Theater Festival 2024. And again, it is Mom-tastic. Hey, keep being great. Keep it locked. Stay tuned. More to come. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.